right, so today we're working on Folsom, learning to follow doing some loose leash walking exercises. So what we're doing here is essentially starting off with just standing, having him go into a sit position, and then you back up 3 steps, stop, ask him to sit again, and then he sits. And we're just going to keep repeating this. Eventually what I want you to do is get more animated and more animated. I recommend putting on music because it makes it fun. The more fun you have, the more fun he will have. And keep going with the exercise. I'm just gonna back up. And so the next part of this will be starting to move diagonally. So you want to start to be able to get to the point where he starts to follow you on a diagonal, and then eventually working him over, he wants to lay down on the carpet. Try going into the kitchen to see. If he's unwilling to get up, don't forget you can kind of pat at your knee. There you go, perfect, just like that. So notice how that got him his attention. There you go, and then give him a treat. So the next steps are starting to slowly start to turn sideways, and then getting him on one side of your body. And then you can start working on really moving him backwards, walking. Remember, leaning forward will get him to kind of move backwards. Leaning backwards will get him to kind of follow you and move forward, or move forward in the direction that you're moving in. So keep practicing this. Once you've got him to the point where you can be pretty much moving all around the house and he's following you, he's doing a good job at that. Because here we're essentially teaching him, when you're moving, you stick with me. When you're stopping, he sits down. And once he gets to the point that he's mastered that, then you want to start bringing him out in the yard. When you can, because in the house, you're not nothing else is all that distracting. But outside, just kind of pat your leg, get his attention. There you go. But when you're outside, there's a lot more distractions, so it's going to be harder for him to accomplish the same goal. However, this is the next best thing. If he has a hard time with that, come back inside, practice more, and then do short sessions outside. Maybe you only bring 10 treats or 5 treats and only do a couple of things. Only do a couple of treats and call it good, because he'll do better on shorter durations in the beginning, then work up to longer periods of time. Then it sounds funny, but you actually want to then practice in the yard with a leash, because that's adding a new element to the table before you actually start bringing him out on walks. Then I recommend kind of practicing in your front yard and doing that maybe for a week or so. And then eventually start transitioning for short walks. You don't want to start off with a really long walk, because then he won't be accustomed to going that long of a period without pulling on the leash. That excludes obviously like off-leash walking when you're if you're going hiking, but anytime you're going for a walking experience. So just keep the duration short and kind of build up to longer and longer walks where he's not pulling. But remember, again, we want to start off inside, build up the exercise here so he has it mastered, where you can go in pretty much any direction. He's following you. If he starts to get bored, put on music, have more fun. The more fun you have, the more fun he'll have. There, perfect. I like that you waited and got him to sit. Good job. And then eventually get him outside. You can still practice inside. Just because you're working outside, if it's a rainy day, doesn't mean that you can't still practice inside. So this is how we're going to work on getting up to loose leash walking.